the goddamn bell. It's Friday. It's the other Friday, so Power Bombcast is on the menu, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs. I'm your host this week, Chan Ochoa, coming over the top rope to greet you. He's been picked first in the round one draft. Dan Reichert is here.
I got the UFC flavor.
He's primed up. He's primed up. Bonk found it. On the floor correspondent. He's at the health labs trying to figure out whether or not it's actually poisonous. Mike Minotti.
Would you be serious? Hello, how's it going? That's more of a, commentator thing, but still. I don't know. I've been thinking about Gorilla a bunch lately.
Gorilla.
Don't know why. Gorilla, yeah.
Joining us, special guest, jumping ship, the hottest signing in wrestling podcasts. And I don't know actually how many other wrestling podcasts are. I think it's just us.
There's
right?
a lot.
Yeah, there's if there's one thing I know, there are very few video game podcasts in the world and very few wrestling ones.
Yeah,
right?
Very
few of them in the UK.
Oh, of course. Yeah, totally. Alex Boniello.
Hey, it wouldn't be an appearance on Giant Bomb content for me if I didn't get a text from Dan 30 seconds before saying, "Can you please? Are you available?" And I said, "I have
this exact moment."
Yes. Yeah. Right now.
Well, I didn't know
Literally
Grub was
sitting at my
out
computer.
until 2 seconds before that text. I was like, I got a guy I can text. You're number one. You're number one on the speed dial, Mr. Boniello.
In fact, Alex and I are hijacking the show. This is now a Lorcana podcast.
Don't do this to me.
All right,
you can't do this to me.
Hit it, Mike. Do the intro.
No.
Ursula's return. Hello, welcome to Lorcana After Dark. I'm your host, Mike Minotti.
It's 2 in the afternoon.
And I'm Alex Boniello. We have a special guest to talk about Lorcana.
I'm gonna try this UFC
Mickey
flavored
Mouse.
Prime.
Come on in. Oh boy, how much I love the Lorcana.
It tastes like Joe Rogan.
Yeah,
Rough.
I've been working the emails. I'm trying to become a Lorcana influencer. I found some PR people. Haven't heard back yet, but it's a grind. We'll get there.
How does
I'm
UFC
really rooting
taste?
for you, buddy.
I'm gonna tell you, this is the worst Prime. I don't even like. I actively like all the other ones to different degrees. This is weird. This is just
What's the
weird.
flavor?
Give us the notes.
Tangy, it's hydrating, but it's like there's like a tang. It's like tang,
but like not.
Does it taste like tang, or is it like?
I haven't had shoot tang before.
It's bad orange juice.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
I would actually make let's get into it. I would make the argument that shoot tang is orange juice.
Wait.
Shoot tang pie.
No, because tang is like an orange flavored drink.
Well,
so I would say
it's like high C.
Right.
Like, it's powdered, so it's like Kool-Aid, but it only makes one flavor and it's bad.
And it's orange, and the flavor is orange. So what I'm saying is shoot tang with
it's just
orange juice.
that makes sense.
I
I should have looked this up. I don't know if I'm supposed to drink UFC Prime while I'm on these steroids.
What are you on? Are you on prednisone?
Yeah, brother.
Oh, brother, talk about we can make this a prednisone. Listen, let me tell you something. Broadway is powered by prednisone, brother. I got
nice.
Are you kidding me?
I'm having it for like sinus and eustachian tube stuff. What are you actors into?
You need it if like your voice is going and you're like I really got to be there, or if you need help getting back. I don't do it because I don't like how it makes me feel as I
you feel crazy.
There was a time where I was in a show where I had to be frozen. Like I do a whole bunch of stuff.
Was it frozen? Was it Frozen?
No, I was not in the smash hit musical Frozen. No, it was in the show Dear Evan Hansen. I had to freeze holding my nipples. Canonically, is actually what it was. It was for a joke, and then they're talking while I'm frozen in this position. And I distinctly remember being frozen in this position like this on the prednisone, saying in my head in front of however many thousand people, being like, "Oh, I'm back too early," because I'm like shaking a little bit.
Yeah,
and like I'm
shaky
sweating.
Things? Do you get like weird pinging pains in your like calves and capillaries and stuff? I can feel all my capillaries.
So I don't know about that one, but it makes notes a little too easy to sing.
Oh,
you know what I mean? You gotta be like, this is too easy. I'm on performance enhancing drugs right now. Like
I'm on day 3 of 6, so I'm halfway through right now.
Yeah.
Alex, you ever think about like adapting a wrestling feud or a storyline into a musical? Are there any that you think would be well suited to it?
I like this question. Good question, Mike.
Like Screwjob the musical.
Screwjob the musical. You know, like, of course not. But I've always maintained that, like, I've maintained that the American musical theater and professional wrestling are way, way closer as like a form of entertainment than people are comfortable saying. And but there are a few of us. I really have to be completely honest. There's like a handful of us, of like actors who are like little wrestling freaks, and we all find
I believe
each other.
that. Yeah, I can see the crossover. Dude. Yeah, totally. I get it.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Meanwhile, I don't know about the crossover on the wrestling side. I don't know how many of them are into musical theater.
There's definitely a couple. There's definitely a couple.
I would assume like the Disney park freaks would like sit in on like the Frozen musical.
Cardona, yeah.
Let me tell you something. There's a weird overlap specifically between theme park freaks, musical theater freaks, and wrestling freaks.
Three of them are here.
That's
I
what
had
I'm
to produce an Alexa Bliss podcast with the genie from Aladdin once. He seemed to be a big
James.
You met the genie from Aladdin?
I was on a Zoom call with him during the pandemic. I was on a Zoom call with him and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, you want to know a really good...
It's a weird job.
There was a year. This is so annoying, but it's really good. There was a year where him and I were both at the Tony Awards doing opposite things. Like he was presenting or something because he's won before, and I was singing the In Memoriam, actually.
Oh,
you should have done that as the genie.
As the genie, we passed each other. We passed each other backstage at the Tony Awards and just silently too sweeted each other and continued moving. And I'm talking, we're in like our evening's best, right? Like we're wearing like little tuxedos and stuff. Nice. It was so stupid.
Well, now you're
like,
Manuel's muscle backstage at Raw.
Yeah.
So was James.
Oh,
That was the crew. It was, yes. For those of you who don't know, it was very, very, very silly. Lynn texted and was like, yo, I'm setting up Monday Night Raw. This is the Raw before Mania. I'm setting up tickets, whatever. We're just going to meet here. We're all going to drive down together. And when we got there, we did the cool thing. I had like actually never given this thought. You like drive in and then take like a big car elevator. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, sure.
Like underneath the Barclays Center, like the car that drove us, and you went under. I was like, oh, I guess this is how like Taylor Swift gets to the venue. You know what I mean? Like, of course. And then we got out there, and the WWE social media team, who was very, very nice, was like, can you guys just get out of the car and just walk? Here's a title. They just hand us a gold title. And Lynn was like, do you guys want to be in this? And James and I were like, do we want to be in it? Yeah.
So Alex, are you tangentially part of the WWE universe then?
He's canon.
Well, what's funny is I was canon before that, because when I was in Dear Evan Hansen, I convinced the producers of Dear Evan Hansen to do a press event with WWE when they were in town for SummerSlam. So you can find this. It's
smart.
me and Charlotte Flair and Kathy Kelly backstage at Dear Evan Hansen talking about like anti-bullying. It was so funny.
Okay, I was wondering where's the Venn diagram with Dear Evan Hansen and wrestling. And
the thing is that to be very clear with you, that their super was not one. To be very, very clear, what had happened. This is actually, I'm thrilled to be telling people why this happened now. Actually, Kathy Kelly, like who's one of the backstage people, like the correspondents, who interview. For those of you who don't know, Kathy came to see Dear Evan Hansen, and messaged me and was like, "Oh my goodness, like." I like was looking at the cast during intermission, and I see that you're a wrestling fan. I was like, who are you here with? And she's like, my mom. I said, you and your mom are coming backstage after. Let's go. And then I said
mom
to Kathy,
Charlotte Flair?
Like, no. This is,
I'm
can you imagine?
So much.
Yeah. And we said, and I said, listen, there's never going to be a reason ever for us to ever do anything. But if there is, let's like put our heads together and figure it out. And then we were like, well, SummerSlam is in New York in a couple months, and it's that thing where like the WWE always loves to do like city specific kind of things, and like like this is a silly thing to say, but like what's more New York than Broadway? You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
like that's what and they kind of were like, we can figure it out. This guy's down. So it was like before a show. I remember I was very embarrassed because I did have the WWE title in my dressing room, and Charlotte goes, look at that. And I said, oh, fuck. Like, I felt like such a mark. I felt like such a mark, dude. And I remember Charlotte was blown away that we had dressing rooms. She's like, I guess I just assumed that it was like everybody's in one big, like, kind of holding area, because that's what wrestlers have. You know what I mean? They're hanging out in like an arena or whatever. I was like, no, I have like this is my little room, and I have the WWE title on the wall.
Yeah, this is what it looks like when you're really a star, Charlotte.
I don't think so. I had a very small dressing room.
Most wrestling, the locker room is just like a hallway on the way to the VFW bar or something that everyone's just getting dressed in.
Such I've learned. I've since learned.
Alex, I'm going to use this as a thumbnail for this podcast. Someone already found the video. Fantastic.
Me and Charlotte?
Right.
It's super. No, and it's kind of like, I have to be really honest with you. I like the whole like getting starstruck thing. Like it has never really been much of a thing for me for whatever reason, like that brain connecting thing. Charlotte got me, dude. Like she was standing in front of me and I was like, I can't believe people can look like this. Like, it's like unbelievable. Like I was like, you are not made, like what I'm made of is not what you are made of.
There are a few that like, because a lot of wrestlers these days are like, our height and aren't like super crazy looking like back in the day. But there are some like Cena, Jade Cargill, like there are a few where it's just like, okay, these don't look like humans I have seen before, like, or Brock.
Yeah,
those
truly like action figures come to actual life. Yep. Yeah, it's cool. It's really, really cool.
I remember when Dan and I were at WrestleCon and I turn around and Brian Cage is just casually chatting on his cell phone. And then I'm just looking at him like, this is literally a meat mountain of a person. I am terrified. And
Hobbs, we saw Hobbs too.
Oh, yeah.
He's right there. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. And he's wearing like the tank tops that you wear if you're a cool muscle man, where it's like barely a tank top. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I would only wear those if I looked like Hobbs. Yeah.
Like the straps are incredibly skinny, and if you like look at them wrong, they'll pop off.
Exactly. Dan, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Just keep taking that prednisone, Dan. You'll be
prednisone and marathon training. I think that's how you get that physique. Yeah. I gotta get whatever AJ. I think AJ Styles, if you saw his prep for tomorrow's thing, he's having like 3 asparagus with his chicken breast lately. It's he's and his saunas and his cold plunges. Yeah.
I've always thought of AJ Styles as a very like trim, slender man, and then seeing the AJ Styles after that promo of like, okay, you have been
there's a different
something.
human being. There's a smaller AJ Styles inside him that's trying to burst out through the skin. Okay. Like it's like Men in Black looking. Yes.
What am I typing here? AJ, I haven't seen.
Look up if you look on WWE's YouTube channel, they put it up like today or yesterday. He's looking insane.
Dude, he looks great. He already looks so good.
It looks painful to be him.
It looks like those kid Randy Orton Halloween costumes, like those muscle suits.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's like it's like body is like the skin doesn't quite fit around all of them.
I know he's gonna burst out. It's gonna be like a Mortal Kombat fatality where someone just makes you explode.
Y'all, I'm freaking out. The video, him starting with doing that jumping rope there.
Yeah. But it's like, how did he get into shape? And he explains to them, he's like, I'm doing a few burpees in the lawn, do some jump rope, a couple dumbbell presses, getting the cold plunge, and I'm good.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you need.
Jesus.
Him doing the cold plunge, unbelievable. He's like, no selling it too. Like it's cold as hell. Like,
I bet he's drinking a lot of Prime, Dan.
He's got the UFC one. Yeah. Cold plunges are over with wrestlers lately. I keep seeing on Instagram. Yeah. Austin, Sheamus, AJ, someone else is doing it. Yeah, they're Matt Hardy's always doing it.
Well, let's pretend I don't know what a cold plunge is.
It's just a bathtub full of ice.
Oh no, absolutely not.
How much money to get in one for 90 seconds?
I mean, not too much. I would do it for like $1,000. I'd do it for like $300.
Good, you're reasonable. Okay,
yeah. It's like eating an apple.
Mike, you and Dan own houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Alex, correct me.
I could do this.
You don't own a home. You're like me.
We're millennials, baby. We're never going home.
Hey, there we go, my guy.
You don't count.
We're elder millennials.
You cheated. I don't know. You cheated.
I'm watching
I cheated by living in Poland, Ohio. That's why I have it.
Yes. I'm watching New York and San Francisco. Where the 2 Midwest guys have houses.
Yeah, that is for what it's worth. Yeah, we do live in the 2 worst imaginable.
Yes. Fair. I'm watching this AJ Styles training video, and it looks like it hurts him to jump rope right now, but I can't help but notice he has a basketball court with his own AJ Styles logo on the floor.
Yeah,
Dan,
it's good.
It's
Mike,
great.
would y'all have like your own logo on the floor?
Somebody made a logo, a Tokoto logo for me once that like looks like the GameCube like kind of stuff once. I would love to have that on a basketball court. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I've wondered that because like I was getting a PC made a few years ago, and they asked me if they wanted like a logo or anything etched into the glass, and I was like, I don't have a logo. I should have a logo.
Yeah.
I would like to put it on
logo.
things.
I mean, like DR, people could like think you're like a doctor.
Yeah.
I kind of find something to do with this logo now. I've got this logo and it's like not going to use.
Or the classic, like, the cursive letters on the initials on the boot, like the old like RF, the Ric Flair on the boot.
Yeah.
Like I could probably get like a classy DR or something,
We've been talking about wrestling tangentially. A lot of wrestling is constantly happening, and I think if we were a wrestling website, we would be just as busy as we are as a video game website, because Dynasty was last weekend, 2 weeks ago.
Last weekend sounds right. Wait.
It may have been right after your last podcast that weekend. So
that's right.
Ago.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I think we did like a pre-Dynasty podcast.
We did a pre-Dynasty, and then the draft in WWE had happened, and then lo and behold, apparently there is a premium live event happening tomorrow.
Yes, in France.
In France. Now, we don't have to break down the card as we were wanting to do before a premium live event, but what's happening in the world of wrestling for you boys?
I've been kind of keeping tabs on AEW again, just because Dynasty was really good. I mean, that whole show was great, and then obviously Ospreay versus Danielson was incredible. Just an all-time fantastic match, paced really well. I loved it had like that fast pace, and it was just always exciting. But it did have those big, really exciting spots, right? Like when he went for the Oz cutter and Danielson just slammed him with that knee. God, that looked so crisp.
The replay, the slow-mo, it was just so spot on. It's just like there's no hesitation. It didn't look like Ospreay was like setting up for the spot or anything. It was perfect. It was a fucking incredible match. Like I could have gone without some of the stuff at the end. Like we didn't need to throw an angle on the end.
Yeah, I agree, because it was kind of a it was kind of but it was kind of a downer, because like I just wanted to bask in the glow of this match. Instead, it's like, is Danielson like really hurt or have a concussion? No, that's like scary and a bummer. I'm trying to be happy right now, please.
Yeah, I'm not one of those that like when Danielson will do like the supercells or like the seizure cells, I'm not like, oh, how dare he or anything. But I'm with you in that like that was such an all-timer match that for the final, like when the bell rings, to have a feeling of like, wait. Is he actually? Okay, wait, hang on. Is he like to have that instead of just, whoo, give me a cigarette, which it became pretty clear pretty quick that he was fine. Sure. But it would be nice to just immediately go into the like, what a fucking match, Right.
Like I wanted to hear, the announcers, like your Scalber going on about that. Instead, he has to do his like fake serious, which like, this is we'll give you an update, everybody, as soon as we can. But this,
I would have taken
the words local medical facility.
No, you can say hospital now. You can say hospital now.
Okay, good.
AEW could always say hospital.
Oh, yes.
Okay, please forgive me.
It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. It's one I turned to Bonk afterwards and I was like, that's one of those matches where it's like I literally have to sit here and try to think of what matches I've seen ever that are better than that, and it's a short fucking list. So
yeah, I haven't seen like a bunch of New Japan stuff, but like it is up there in terms of like American soil, modern 2000s wrestling.
The Kenny and Ospreay matches. Weird that Ospreay tends to come up a lot in these. Like that fucking guy, he really has something now. I was actually watching part of that match in the last couple of days, like the entrances and stuff, and like he comes out and there is something to that guy that is like generational. The way it feels like Shawn Michaels. It feels like I don't know. There's a magnetism to him, and for him to have this all figured out at 30 and be this good, it's really, really incredible to watch.
It's impressive. And like I remember first seeing Ospreay when I got back into wrestling after a lull, and it was when Jericho was doing that first match in New Japan against Omega. And like, okay, and my buddy was already in New Japan, so I got that pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And that card also had this like fatal 4-way juniors match, and Ospreay was in that. He was incredible in it. But I remember at the time, he looked like a goober, right? I was
acted like one too.
Great. Right, he does. Yeah, he doesn't look like a star or anything. But then, he's always been good at wrestling, but he really has developed so well in terms of charisma and just like all this other stuff where, like he's already a star. And I think sky's the limit still in a lot of ways. And he loves Assassin's Creed specifically, not even gaming, just Assassin's Creed.
It's weird.
Loves it. He got a second Assassin's Creed tattoo, I think.
Yeah. Boniello has 3, so yeah.
You just need one,
I'm assuming he got a hidden blade.
Well, it's got a move name.
That's the name of his move, right? The hidden blade.
Yeah, is that what he does?
No, I think they're both just variations on the A logo, actually.
I felt bad almost for the guys having to do that ladder match right afterwards, because it's like It was a good match, obviously, and they were busting their asses for it. But I was so just thinking about that match and like exhausted at that point that I think somebody, might have been you, Boniello, or Mitch, I think it was you, like, oh man, this match is awesome, this ladder match. And I was like, honestly, I think I probably should be paying more attention, but I'm like,
I remember.
Drained from this fucking Ospreay Danielson match. Yeah,
and it's one of those things like, of course you want the world title match to go last, especially when there is like a change, of course, but I think everybody always knew that what the real main event, quote unquote, was going to be. The ladder match was a lot of fun. Again, I already kind of like don't remember the specifics because my brain was kind of preoccupied with the all timer match there. But FTR Bucks, they've had good matches before. This was another one. They probably aren't done with each other. We'll see where that goes next. But the other thing, pay-per-view, what was great to see Swerve get that win. His rise over the last year or so has been fantastic to watch. He's kind of fitting into that top role pretty nicely.
And it was the right time for it too. I think if you keep going with it and dragging it out, I think you lose that steam. And I think this was the point they had to pull the trigger on it, and they did. So,
I was a little bit disappointed that the Julia Hart and Willow Nightingale match was so short. Felt more like a squash, but seeing it now, it looks like Julia Hart may have been injured or working injured.
Yes.
So maybe that's why it's so short.
Yeah, I saw a picture of her, in the hospital or something, right, post-surgery. So she was hurt.
I will say though, the post that seeing like the Willow stuff, Willow is great. Willow is like always been like had a lot of charisma and great in the ring and stuff, but like she's been getting more mic time lately, and she's got it all. Like she's really, really great. Yeah. Not the program itself and who she's going to be working with and everything. That may leave some to be desired, but Willow seems great.
I don't want them to take the title off of Willow so early. I don't want her to take the pin because I feel like she's been one of those AEW cases where like they've built Willow up from the ground, but like she's one of those names I was introduced to through AEW at first.
Sure. Not
familiar with her indie background, and it's like I don't want her to be fed to an ex-WWE superstar, especially when it feels like a lot of the heat and like momentum behind Mercedes Moné is kind of dissipated slowly.
Well, here, let's fix it. Let's just have Mercedes just on commentary full time.
No.
Maybe just promos. Maybe just promos. That'd be great.
No.
You got to accentuate the positives, right? Hide the weaknesses, right? That's how wrestling works.
Yeah.
I think it's like she was one of my favorite wrestlers in WWE. Like fantastic.
She's a great
matches. But like the packaging, the making her focus on doing promos and commentary and backstage segments, and I hate the music.
Coming out and staring at people.
I hate the music too.
There's something about a song that like has the chant in it, desperately trying to get people to do it. It's like, all right, look, if I want to chant, I'll chant song.
Yeah. And also, that character is just like, even back when she was in WWE, the whole character was, I like money.
Was
like, that's all the depth.
The CEO of what?
She was a business school in the time she was off. Yeah, it's
a crystal company, perhaps.
It's I'm
sure she's a small business
That's how she
owner.
healed from the injuries. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
I'm sure she owns Monet Enterprises, and she is a president and CEO.
I heard she was the star of Star Wars. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, she was in
I heard she's the biggest star of Star Wars. Yeah,
biggest star. Yeah, she slurped on like Grogu. A weird space worm at one point, I think.
I got to say two things really quick. Number one, I absolutely forgot I was on this podcast for about 2 minutes. I forgot. Like I was just sitting here listening, and I was like, I'm fucking on this show right now. What am I doing? Number two, I don't know if you guys talked about this, but I went nuts for that picture of Roman. Oh, we did talk about this because I said Mike sent it to me now. The picture of Roman at Disney in a Grogu shirt.
Oh, send that to me, Mike.
Oh, what shirt?
Send that to me, Mike.
Grogu,
in like the Baby Yoda.
Okay. Is this a real picture?
100%.
Yeah. Oh, I've
my man is. It's so awesome. He's like wearing a Baby Yoda t-shirt. He's clearly at Animal Kingdom. My dude just got off Expedition Everest. He's wearing like a hat and sunglasses as if to be like, please, I've worked far too hard for too many years. Please let me just be at Disney World with my family. But it's like, you can't ignore that jaw. That face is, I'm just like, you look like 100.
Yeah.
No, pretty
dry. Who can say that Florida humidity could do a lot of things?
It could do a lot of things. I hope he went to the Nomad Lounge that day, got himself a tempting tigress and some gluten-free churros. He deserves it.
100%. He went to the Yak and Yeti after that. He got the lo mein.
I didn't realize what I was walking into, inviting Boniello. you other dorks.
Mike was on too.
I know. I'm looking around. I'm like, oh shit, I'm outnumbered.
Okay. Here's a connection. Maybe he went to Hollywood Studios and stood out by the entrance where they did those WCW shows.
Oh,
in,
where it was exploding for Nitro. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So there's your connection.
Right.
Or Rey Mysterio in the trailer. Yeah.
Or went over to Universal to the old Impact Zone.
I love how quickly with Roman taking time off that all the fans are like, all right, we don't have to like pretend to boo him. Now we can just be like, oh, we love you. We miss Roman. We miss Roman. Thank you, Roman. Everyone's like, yeah, even like Cody at the Backlash thing today was like, yeah, they're chanting for Roman. It's like, all right, yeah, we could all drop the act. Like, yes, he's very good.
Yeah. I hope he, I mean, this is not, it's sort of a pivot away from talking about the current product.
Sure.
So please forgive me. But I just, what a thing, man. Because he's going to come back and just be so beloved. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what you do.
They don't have to, what'd you say?
You know what you do? You have him come back and be beloved and ride what's going on with the fucking Rock lately.
Oh,
and there's where you go for Mania.
Yeah, there's your money match.
It's just keep him out for maybe even longer than he needs. Let people miss him and then let him show up. And like, we don't even have to do a turn. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Like,
right, doesn't have to change the character. It just has to come back and
just show up and help a good guy. You know, it's
maybe. But imagine if Heyman is with Tama Tonga and Solo, and maybe Jacob Fatu. Imagine Roman spearing Paul Heyman. Like that would be a huge.
Of course.
Moment.
I mean, you know,
or he saves Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
or that one of those.
I don't want babyface Paul Heyman.
Maybe he saves Paul Heyman by spearing him.
He like knocks out the bad bloodline out of him.
Knocks the bloodline right out of him.
There's like kendo stick coming for him, so he has to spear him out of the way. I don't know.
I know that
get that, Mr. President.
I've seen the fantasy booking of Roman coming back and him teaming up with the Usos and then going up against Solo, Tama, Jacob Fatu, but I don't want main event Jay to be back with the Usos.
No, yeah,
like because Jimmy's hurt. Oh yeah, and Jay after all the stuff with that whole Uso storyline really didn't work out, did it?
Yeah,
like super kids.
Well, I mean, like the interview came out. They wish they had more time and everything. And
something went long
for the Mania match.
Yeah, for their Mania match.
Yep.
That
was
I don't know if that match needed more time, but
maybe just a different plan.
Sure.
Well, it's super interesting though, that one, because it's like I was at night one of Mania, and then I watched night 2 from home. As Dan and Jen know, we had a lovely breakfast together.
We did.
Nice.
I remember texting a lot of friends because I have a lot of friends who watch wrestling every year in the like month up to Mania. Do you know what I mean? Which is really fun for. It's very fun for me
Rumble
personally.
To Mania, the hot spot there. Yeah.
Oh, not even that, but yes, of course, but truly not even that.
Mania.
Like, definitely. But these friends of mine, it was fun because last year I had people over and I was like, "Do you want to watch WrestleMania with me?" And they're like people who've never watched. Do you know what I mean? Never watched wrestling.
Sure.
And of course they're like, "Oh my God, wrestling is anime. This fucking rocks." And then they watch Mania and then they don't check in for a year. And they're like, I'm in on Cody. I can't believe the Usos. And I was like, wow, look what happens when they take their time. Even the casual fan is like instantly in. And so the reason I bring all of this up was I was texting these friends and that video package with the Usos was so good. And so immediately, like, I remember how good that was. Like, I'm not my brother's keeper. It was so dramatic and so good. And then I remember not getting any more texts from them after the video package, and I was like, oh, they're definitely like uninterested the second the wrestling started, and that made me bummed because I was like, these two dudes deserve this to be a big blow up thing. I don't know why it didn't work. Is basically the long-winded thing.
It's hard with these brother versus brother matches. Like we've had a few of them, and to this day, the only one I really think about much is the Owen Hart, Bret Hart stuff, right?
Like the Hardys had one at Mania 25, and that was really disappointing.
And the Hardys had the cinematic one, like the first one, and that was great. But that was more about the other things and the fact that it was two brothers fighting.
Well, it's the
TNA one. Yeah.
What were those called? Why am I blanking on those
cinematic
names
matches? Or that was the total deletion.
Yeah,
Ultimate deletion.
Yeah.
I guess I just got bummed for the Usos, just because I was like, oh, the story is here. Like, I wonder, it was just like an interesting moment as a person who's been watching this since you're a little kid. You're like, why didn't this work? I don't know why it's not working. I can't actually give you an answer. The right guy won, and I just don't know I don't know. I'm not a booker. I don't know why things don't work sometimes. It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's weird that they, despite being twin brothers and being a tag team for so long, it felt like they didn't have a lot of ring chemistry.
No, I would have thought that, like, God, how many times they, like, do matches in the backyard and things like that. And I'm sure they had stuff like, oh, when we're at WrestleMania together, when we're adults, we're going to do this thing. Like, they just super kicked a lot and a lot of, like, forced drama that never really clicked. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Well, didn't Jimmy have to yell at his daughter or something at one point to get off her phone and watch?
Yep.
Yeah, that
match?
ruled.
Yep.
That
That's
ruled.
great.
That was awesome. That was a moment where I was like, is this real? I actually, I don't know if I care if it's real or not, but I'm super into it. Because I think he said, like, watch dad work. And I'm like, oh, there's something real there, man. This guy.
Well, Jay super kicked his kid also. Right? And like,
I would, after the last couple months, maybe don't have your family at ringside and if Chad Gable's anywhere near the building.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God.
That is like one of I think we chatted about this last time, but the thing that I've been so happy about is the completely different packaging in how people know how to use cameras. Steady cams,
long shots,
gimbals. It's
unbelievable. I'm shocked we haven't like texted about this or something, Jan, because I totally agree. Like it's so cool to see it. I mean, like it's a tough company to ever want to compliment, but it's like one of those things where I'm like, scandal noted. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's so cool to see something that you've been watching a certain way, like genuinely entering like 10 years ago. Like it's like, oh my God. I still think about that shot of Sammy in Montreal.
Yes.
It was the coolest shit ever. It rocked.
I loved when like Dom threw the camera. It's like, get out of here. And then like the camera just
we'll go down this hallway.
Yeah.
I think it's like awesome. As much deserved shit as Kevin Dunn got, because Kevin Dunn sucks in a lot of ways. It wouldn't work this way if one of Vince or Kevin Dunn was still around. You had to also have Vince gone, or also need to have Kevin Dunn gone, because that was how Vince liked the show to be shown. So like Kevin was kind of just following orders as much as he also sucks. So with both of them gone, it's actually free now. That new Lee Fitting guy, from sports television stuff, he's the one that's kind of behind a lot of these like production changes, and it's been working.
It just blows my mind. Like I just don't understand the ethos of the previous regime. They're trying to go so far away from wrestling, yet they're not embracing any modern sensibilities when it came to, not that they weren't embracing anything. Like I remember they would do the super out of focus background shots on some wrestlers, but like some of the camera cuts, I saw a thread of someone comparing the Montreal camera cuts last time Sammy was there to now.
I saw that.
And it's just insane. It just vomit inducing.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
that's
like
when you have a fucking 78-year-old man kind of behind that shit. Like, shocking that he's not on top of that stuff.
It's also too, like, again, like, not to. You got to remember, like, it's a story. You're telling a story, right? We're making movies, or whatever the fuck that idiot said. But I think people forgot, or maybe they just never thought about it this way. I don't know, that like a camera is a character in this thing you're doing. Do you know what I mean? And like we only know we very good, Dan. We can only emotionally invest in what you're showing us, because we're not there. So it's like you have to direct the show. Like, and so it's just really exciting to be like, look at them like telling me how to feel by putting someone in this third of the camp. Like it's like the stuff that makes movies good that your average like Joe or whatever like literally never thinks about ever, but like the story's getting told to them because people who are really smart are shooting it that way on purpose. Like, and I finally feel like that's happening in a really cool way. It's really, really awesome to see.
And the other side of it is like, do you remember before all the changes? I'm talking years ago, when it was clear some focus group or someone told like Dunn and Vince and people that like, oh, you know, kids are used to kind of like this, you know, TikTok type, or when they tried tout and all that. But then they would do the promos in the back where the wrestler was talking to the camera, but it was clearly the super high quality like TV production camera. But they would have them just hold their hands here and they would put text over the screen like, Brodus Clay, I'm going to kick your ass on SmackDown Super Show. It's like, this is the stupidest looking thing. It's clearly like,
I'm gonna get you.
No,
like,
that's even better because it wouldn't actually be shaking and look like a handheld. They would. Oh my god, it was the worst looking shit.
No, it's like
it's
the
like graphics locked down.
It's on a $10,000 gimbal. Like,
yeah,
it's like
yeah, exactly.
Physically incapable of shaking.
Way too smooth, like 8K. Like, god damn.
Yeah. I appreciate the swing. Like, we gotta be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we gotta think about how to present. And how to, I mean, I know this is going to sound so dorky, but like we do have to engage the youth, right? So it's like, what?
Let's give Braun Strowman some choo-choo sounds. That'll get the kids.
Oh my god!
You know what I was talking about just the other day with April? Those of you who don't know my wife, April. I was talking about. I was like, April. Yeah, my wife. Sorry. I was like, April. Do you remember when Braun Strowman at the beginning of the pandemic was like, "We are gonna wash these hands"?
Yeah.
I was like, that guy definitely didn't get vaccinated.
No.
So it's so funny to like.
That
what a
played
weird moment
several times a day when I was working there, like on the screens and stuff like that. In the early days when it was just like, oh, it seems like just washing hands is the way to fix it. They would just keep having Braun Strowman yelling at us from like 1984 screens.
100%. You know, I also too, not to keep talking about not the current product, but when I was there at what was it, Raw, we were with somebody who had never consumed wrestling ever. They were just like, it was somebody that somebody knew and it was like, let's go. And it was and this person is like a creative of, you know what I mean? They direct things. And they were like
Walt Disney.
It wasn't, but if Walt Disney were alive, this guy would probably know him. But lots of really interesting questions getting asked about like, so what happened during the pandemic? And I was like, yeah, they did this for no one is what happened. Yeah. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, like, they did it for no one. The cameras were in their face as they like intimately would be like, I'm going to beat your ass while they're like in a rest hold. I was like, it was the weirdest moment of like storytelling ever. And I went back and checked some of it out. And I'm like, they almost made this work. Like, it's kind of unbelievable. I mean,
guys. Is that the Thunderdome? What was that called?
The Thunderdome.
Yeah, the Thunderdome was when they had the screens, but post performance center.
I'm talking like, even before. I'm talking the performance center.
No, you're talking early. Like, that's when the Bloodline stuff started. That's when main event Jey Uso and the Bloodline stuff. A lot of Romans slowly walking around the ring, talking, "You're supposed to be my brother. You're supposed to be my Uso." You know, like hearing everything. It was playing out like a high school play, basically. And then you're getting weird shit like the Fiend is on fire in the ring taking an RKO, and all the weird Alexa Bliss Lily doll shit. Like, it all sucked, but it's like when you think about it, it's like that's crazy that all that shit happened. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was just, and it was cool to have a conversation about like what happens to this. I giggle to even utter these two words in regard to wrestling, but it is what happens to this art form when the audience is gone was such an interesting, and I was so fascinated by this guy wanting that answer immediately because the first thing that this person who'd never been to wrestling was like, okay, so the audience is vitally important to this whole thing. So what did they do? And I'm like, they didn't stop. They just kept doing it. Like,
stop me if I've told this on this podcast
everywhere.
Yeah. Stop me if I've told this on this podcast before, but the thing about John Cena, the podcast we recorded where I had to edit something out after the pandemic, does this ring a bell?
No, I think I'm
but I don't work
conflated
here
with the Nintendo Switch thing.
Oh, no. Okay. So short version, February, it's when Cena came back in Boston. I'm backstage. I record an episode of Corey Graves' podcast with Cena in person. And this is like, you're starting to hear about this pandemic in China, but like not even talking about it coming here yet. We're interviewing Cena, and this is supposed to be the podcast that gets released a month later during WrestleMania weekend. So it's like we record it in late February, not going up until April. Cena says something like, if you don't, believe how important the audience here is and how important the WWE universe is to what we do, try to put on, put on a wrestling show with no one in these seats and see how many people tune in. And then by the time that was supposed to air, we didn't have anyone in the crowd. And we look at that and we're like, oh, that had to be cut out. So we had to cut that out. I've got
like, this shit would suck without an audience.
It's literally what Cena's saying. Like, how many people are going to fucking tune in? And people weren't tuning in, and people weren't in the seats. It was the most like Nostradamus Cena shit ever. Yeah, like our bosses heard it. And they're like, you have to cut that out.
What else has he predicted? I need to know now.
You can't listen. You can't listen to this audio. This audio is staying on a hard drive and is safe.
Yeah. Gosh. It's
but
funny
if
though.
Anyone,
like,
yeah. No, please, Mike. Go ahead.
Like the AEW side, I'm like nostalgic for those dailies place like
too.
pandemic shows in some weird way. Especially like later on, they had like some people in or whatever. And I'm like, they kind of made it work. There was still shit like the time Matt Hardy debuted and was teleporting around the arena.
Yeah.
While like you could see Jericho like slightly move each time he did the bad cut.
Here's the thing, it sucks, but it's awesome. Like,
It's
go
fun.
ahead, like try it. Like, you know what I mean?
And they were telling like little stories in the crowd with the AEW stuff because they would have the superstar. I guess they don't call them superstars there, but like Orange Cassidy would be by himself, looking like half engaged or whatever, or these people shooting each other looks, or the gun boys, the ass boys, just trying to get themselves over as hard as they can, and it kind of worked. Like there was just stuff to watch. There were like little mini stories happening around the ring. Versus, I much preferred that to like when WWE just had like here's Shotzi and a bunch of NXT people banging on glass. It's like, well, she's and Randy Orton are talking to
mine too.
She was. They would always cut to Shotzi. It's like, okay, here's all these NXT people and Ghost Howard Finkel. Like they were doing some shit that was not working.
Yeah, tough, man, tough. They had to keep going.
It's kind of insane.
I was explaining to someone recently too. Speaking of weird things wrestling has done, and I recently had to explain to someone. I was like, oh, you know what that reminds me of when John Cena told a crowd that Osama bin Laden was dead, and they're like. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I said, I'm just going to show you. And it was, it's an unbelievable moment in the history of the planet.
It's one of my favorite things that's ever happened. Not in wrestling. Like you said, the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they play Hail to the Chief or something afterwards.
It's a super wild moment.
I don't remember this moment well. Alex,
I do.
Was there a big pop afterwards?
Yeah, they all started chanting USA. He was captured and compromised to a permanent end. USA! USA!
That is what was said. Captured and compromised to a permanent end.
We killed his body shields too. Should we still be chanting? I'm confused.
No, that's
actually, this seems complicated.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, kind of why the moment is unbelievable because everybody you show the moment to is uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? They're like,
it's insane.
They're like, yes, of course, this person, this man was heinous, and then just the speed with which the crowd got feral at a death is really wild. And again, it's a villain, like it's a monster villain, but it's
totally
like
a real life like despicable person.
Yeah.
But we are
up by a Navy SEAL team.
It was. It's a wild moment.
We are still like chanting at it with the same energy for like a really cool RKO. So it is.
That's right. That's why the moment is. It's a really unbelievable moment. If I'm remembering correctly, forgive me if I'm wrong, or correct me if I'm wrong. Like the show had ended. Is that right?
Yeah, it was like an Extreme Rules, and he just finished like a cage match or something, and it went off the air, but the cameras were still rolling, and he stood on the commentary desk and be like, a lot of moments I've been proud to be an American. This is one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to announce that we have captured and compromised to a permanent end Osama bin Laden. Hail to the Chief, USA chants.
Yeah, and then
you gotta look up the John Oliver. Like, he has a whole stand-up bit talking about how amazing this moment is.
It's wrestling is there's nothing like it.
And because of this, now John Cena, and when I put John Cena into YouTube, the first autofill is just Bin Laden.
Yeah.
John Cena, Bin Laden.
The Rock and Cena feud was already starting there because The Rock was the one who broke the news on Twitter before Obama
We're trying to see who can break it first.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Rock's peeing in a water bottle, tweeting about Bin Laden dying.
Being late to things all the time.
All right, Dan, you had sent around an article about The Rock and causing major budget issues or increasing a budget on a film.
Causing a lot of weird issues.
A lot of weird issues. I'm curious as to what's going on. I don't know what The Rock thinks is real anymore.
It's one of those things. Well, I mean, I kind of saw some of this personally at Mania. Remember when we were backstage at the 2K thing?
Oh, yeah.
We got invited to a 2K event. It was one that Greg Miller was hosting. And like, so we're backstage. All these superstars are here. It's
this
like,
year?
This year,
yes.
like a month ago. So it's like, New Day's there, Jade Cargill, there's a ton of Miz, they're doing interviews before this thing. It's this whole like up, down, down gaming thing was supposed to happen at a certain time. And then suddenly word came backstage like, oh, The Rock wants to come on stage and do a thing. So it was like indefinitely postponed. And then it got announced on Twitter that The Rock was going to be there. So the whole audience fills out at this WWE World thing. So it's like hundreds of people waiting for The Rock at, like they said, let's just say it was 3 or 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then hours go by. And like the 2K people are still back there. They had a whole run a show. They had a whole thing they had to put on that they're just waiting for The Rock to show up. And it was hours before he showed up. He comes out, does his thing. And like, I don't even know if they wound up because we left. I mean, we didn't know. We're not waiting around for The Rock. So we left and did other shit. I don't even know if they wound up doing the thing, but all these people, they flew Miller out for this thing. They had all these superstars out. Like,
they wound up turning the tournament, which I think was supposed to be like WWE superstars and a couple influencers, into like a tag team match. And like that, because like so many people had to leave because of like actual engagements and stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was us getting kind of a glimpse of it because, I had never seen that. I didn't overlap with Rock at all while I was there. And I hadn't heard this stuff, but like the amount of people that were on sets with him and like you heard all the weird stuff that, like the fast stuff and the Vin Diesel things. And now hearing multiple different things. Oh, Ryan Reynolds got in a fight with him. And that seems like a lot of people have similar stories here.
The Rock clearly lives in a completely different world at this point. I don't think The Rock's reprimanded very often in his life anymore, right? So it's one of those things where I'm sure 15 years ago he was 10 minutes late to something, no one said anything. It's like, oh, then he was 30 minutes late, no one still said anything. And it's like, well, now I'm 4 hours late. What are you going to do about it? I'm The Rock. I'm sure he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. I'm sure he thinks like, oh, yeah, sometimes I'm late. I'm The Rock. It's fine. But geez.
I always just think about, and not to defend any sort of behavior if it's actually you know what I mean, but I always think about like, because when I read that as well, I was like, well, like he's not just like, it's not like he's probably like just like hanging out, you know what I mean? Like the thing that I always think about is I'm like, what is the I don't know, I guess I'm making no point in saying what I'm about to say, but it's one of those things where I'm like, what does happen to a person when your time is literally so valuable to a degree that you can financially set a number to like what your time is worth per minute? Like, what does that do to the, like, this is not even about The Rock anymore. It's about a brain.
Well,
like,
the
how
hierarchy of power has changed for so long now.
Right.
But it's so weird. Like he's finding time, like during the feud, he was doing those like 30-minute promos and stuff. And today I was just scrolling through Instagram this morning and I saw The Rock put up a video. He's in the gym. He's there. He's talking about the mana. He's talking about all that. So he's like, oh, it's my birthday, getting a birthday pump in, got to get up, got to do the work. I got Old Glory. I got the American flag behind me telling me, do some more reps, you bitch. And like, I got to do it. I'm the hardest worker. Anyway, I'm going to tell you my favorite quote at the end of this. And he's rambling, talking about how hard he works. I was like, oh, all you all support me on my birthday. I love it when you support me on New Year's and Christmas. And he's just rambling, saying nothing, but keeps making allusions like, look, there's all the noise, there's all the bullshit, there's all that. And you got to learn to just like, no, we're here. We're positive. I believe in humanity. He is talking for so long and saying nothing, but it's still very clear that he's like alluding to like, hey, fuck all what you're hearing. That's not happening. No, like, hey, be positive. There are haters. It's just a weird vibe to that guy right now.
Being like the super hard work. And I'm sure The Rock works very hard, but like he definitely made it part of his brand that he works insanely hard, gets up at 3 a.m., has a truck with his gym in it that follows him everywhere. Enjoy your gaming, all that stuff, right?
Oh, enjoy your
honestly,
gaming.
The most damaging thing you could possibly do to The Rock is probably insinuate that he is being lazy in some way or unprofessional.
It's definitely a very interesting moment in the overall lore of the entertainer who he is. Like, it's a very interesting, you know what I mean? It's like,
sure.
I don't know what the lines are anymore with him.
That's exactly right, man. I mean, well, that's the thing too, is it's also like he's been around for so long and we have watched so many different versions of him, and all things considered has sort of not gotten so much I think we're all surprised by it because we haven't heard it yet. You know what I mean? It's like there are maybe some actors and some whatevers that you're like, oh, that person is a known butthead or whatever, right?
Sure.
Like we know that person's a butthead. And I think that this was a really interesting read just because it's like, I guess I never considered that this superhero come to life is also a guy who maybe isn't always awesome. It's a fascinating litmus test.
Selfishly, as a wrestling fan, though, I want to see this channeled into more stuff because, like, his on-screen role, the final boss stuff he was doing leading up to Mania, is some of the best shit he's ever done. Because you remember the last time he came back with the Cena stuff, it was all Fruity Pebbles and Kung Pao Bitch and Cookie Puss and all that stuff, like tired old shit. And here, the stuff he was doing was incredible heel work. And just to, like, go home and smoke some more crack was the funniest shit. Like, give me more of that Rock. Give me a Rock that people want to boo that is just being a weird asshole to everyone. Like, as a wrestling character, this could work.
And it's so funny though, because it still does tap into like the more casual fans. Because I remember like hearing a lot of chatter from some of the security guards working throughout the whole weekend at like Philadelphia and everything that, yeah, man, I just want The Rock. I found out about Roman, the Bloodline. I acknowledge them now. So he does. I disagree with him saying that he made wrestling popular again, but he still curries favor with a lot of those casual people, or even people that weren't into wrestling as kids, right? They know him as Maui or something.
I know, but I don't even, here's the thing though, man. It's like his impact is tremendous. Unbelievable. Like, it's like, that's the thing. It's like, you just said, I don't like that he said he made wrestling cool again or whatever. And I'm like, I totally get it. That is also the most good heel stuff ever.
But that's the also, thing. Is it?
He did.
But also, is he saying it because he thinks it's good heel work, or does he think he made wrestling cool again? Either way, that's fascinating.
For my money, if no one is getting hurt, I don't actually ever need to know the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like,
I'm not hanging out with Rock.
Well, that's the thing. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so long as, look, I have absolutely no idea. So long as the people in his life are taken care of and are happy and comfortable, that's all I care about. But like, it's just like, I'm like, us. When I zoom out, I'm like, at the end of the day, I guess that's what I want from a wrestling character, isn't it? Like, sure. I think like as I've gotten older, I think we went through a period where like when we were all younger, like kayfabe, always and forever, that didn't necessarily work for me as a kid because I was always like, I think this is real, mommy and daddy. I think this is real. But then like you learn that it is what it is. It is a, it's a show. And then I think that when WWE then leaned into, and wrestling in general leaned into, yeah, this is TV, this is a show. I didn't like that either. So I really like this return that he's been a huge part of. To like the weird. I literally don't know if this is real or not.
You want Tony Khan in the neck brace?
God damn it! You're old.
I beat you to it. God damn it!
Damn it! I was so proud of him. This is going to be a good segue. God damn it!
I got there first.
It's why this thing is weird and special. See, that's I think the point that I'm getting at.
I know that we joke around about like the whole Tony Khan thing, but I feel like Tony Khan is the flip side of that coin where he's not doing it correctly and makes me actively disinterested in the product, despite liking a lot of everyone in there.
I didn't like those weird things. I mean,
I didn't like the video. I liked the picture.
Yes, the picture's good. The neck brace is great.
This lower third being like, Tony Khan says he was brutalized by his employees.
Right. Like, look, I can't be mad at that. That's all real good.
Then he's doing like weird interviews. He's like, we're like WWE's the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling.
Didn't like that.
It's the classic comparison: Pepsi and Harvey Weinstein. Like, it's right there.
What are you talking about, you
psycho? That's like a name I don't even ever want to hear invoked ever. I'm like, don't
Pepsi. I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, when he hears Coke, he's not thinking of the soda. That's the problem.
Tony Khan is familiar with Coke. Maybe he didn't want to badmouth Coke then.
Yeah.
Dan, do you have to get going?
I can stick around until the end of this. I'll pop in late. The next thing.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just gonna see if what y'all are excited for before we get out of here. I know Backlash is tomorrow. You got tickets to Backlash? You get on the plane now, Mike.
No, yeah, jeez. I got tickets for AEW Collision in Youngstown, Ohio. This is
all the stars.
This is the first time a an actual national TV show is being broadcast from Youngstown, since I think SmackDown was here back when the Great Khali was champ. So like what 2008 or something.
Punjabi prison days.
Yeah. It was the main event was the main event was the Great Khali versus Ric Flair.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, I hope you see a great Kyle Fletcher match.
So I got some tickets for this. I'm pretty excited to drive 10 minutes to a wrestling show. Normally, I gotta go to like a city. Yeah, like I live in a suburb of Youngstown, if there are such things. So yeah, that's good. And then SummerSlam.
I'm planning on coming down there for that.
Awesome. Yeah, we got to really nail those plans down soon, I guess. But
yep.
Definitely going to be there. I am very excited for that.
How much is a flight to Ohio from me?
Ohio.
Let me know if you're thinking about it. I'm going to set up tickets.
Okay, we got an airport in Cleveland.
Dan, are you particularly excited about anything that's been building up, or just like the general state of wrestling?
I'm always, not always excited, but currently, yes, still very excited about the current. I've been very excited about the state of wrestling for a couple years now. Everything post-pandemic's been at least interesting.
What do you think about the Omega angle? Did you see that, his return and the beatdown and everything with the EVPs?
I think it's interesting, and I think the fact that they're already teasing some Omega Okada stuff, I mean, that could obviously be a huge match at some point. My only hope is Kenny is a guy who goes very hard. Kenny is not a guy who really phones it in and operates at half speed. I hope he's healthy. I hope he does not rush back, especially not rush back for the type of matches he'd be having with someone like Okada.
Maybe Okada shouldn't be first. Maybe don't try to do that right away.
Give him Brandon Cutler or something first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They should just treat Kenny like Roman.
Did you see him on Twitch saying exactly that? Saying like, he says, I can't hate on Roman. He's being presented exactly the way that I wish, or I want to be presented, as like the guy that shows up every once in a while to have big matches. And it's like,
perfect then.
Yeah, totally. Yes. An attraction.
And I just want him to remain healthy. Alex, what are you excited for in the wide world of wrestling if you've been tuning into the product? Or what do you want to see?
I am excited that it seems, at least from the outside, that people are comfortable at work for the first time, maybe in the history of the business, which is like an earnest and honest thing, because I have for years had like trouble enjoying it's like whenever you like zoom out from the product, sometimes it's like hard to you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's hard to know, like be like, I think bad stuff might be going on. So it's like really nice to be like, and what do we know? But it really does seem like, I think I said this to the two of you at breakfast, like after that first night of Mania, I was like, why does this feels different?
It does.
It feels like everyone's like so excited to be there and they like believe in what they're doing. I don't know. There was like a vibe shift that felt like kind of I couldn't explain it, but there was something really cool about it. So I'm just excited to see like what continues to happen, particularly in WWE. Like this is such uncharted territory.
I know.
That like, and I'm just really excited to see it get like good, like continue to be good.
Yeah.
Because
all of our entire lives, we've only known Vince McMahon running the biggest wrestling in the world. Right. This is completely uncharted territories. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I just hope I hope they try weird stuff. I hope some of it doesn't work, but we get to like laugh about it not working, but they tried. I hope some of the stuff they try super works. You know what I mean? And Jan, I just had a thought. Should we try to go to New Japan again?
I was gonna ask you off air, but
you're gonna go to New Japan without me?
Because Alex and I are going to be in Japan.
You're going to Japan. Oh, you got to go. What, you want to go to Kurikan Hall or a Sumo Hall? I would love to go to Kurikan Hall to see a show. God, it'd be amazing.
I had the realization kind of like when I sat down on this call, I was like, we made jokes about like going to find jeans together, but I'm like, what if we like, is it feasible to consume some strong style together? I genuinely don't know the answer.
If I made it to Japan, that would be pretty high on my list, is to try to go to like some kind of New Japan show. I think that'd be a ton of fun.
Alex, I might do some research.
Do it.
I would super like if you did, and I'll keep you posted on like, I have no idea what my schedule. This is thrilling for a podcast. I have no idea what my schedule looks like, so I don't know if it's even possible. But like, I would super go to some New Japan with you.
All right,
practice your Goto chants.
I hate that I won't be able to host you fellas next year because I'm dreading tomorrow. I think we're hearing confirmation that it's Vegas.
Okay, yeah, that was the thing that I was going to bring up that I'm excited for. Dan, I know that you were hoping that it'd be over by you. But, oh my God, can you imagine?
I'm sorry,
I'll go to Vegas.
Mania Vegas? Is that?
Yes.
Probably tomorrow announcement.
This is terrible for me.
Rough.
I'll go to Vegas and
amazing.
I'll watch Jan lose all his money. It'll be great.
And then I'll make it back.
Yeah.
On wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh man, that because it would probably be where the Raiders play, right?
Yeah.
And that new stadium is beautiful.
Is it Allegiant?
I think so. I want to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh man.
I wanted it here.
I gotta.
Do
I'm
the
sure you
sphere.
did, Dan, but that's
Someday.
that's wacky. That's wacky
do this.
stuff.
Do it in the sphere, but don't invite Drew Carey.
Oh, but think about all you could have Logan Paul's face on the sphere, taunting whoever he's going up against.
You need to make a Prime bottle that's a sphere, then.
Wow. Okay.
What
yeah.
can they do in this? Wait. Sorry,
There's
I
a
know
venue in there. It's a
I'm
concert
going.
venue.
I'm going in July. I'm going to be in the sphere.
No, I know there's a venue there. I fear I would get. I unfortunately fear I would get motion sick in there.
You
I've
fear the
done a lot of
sphere?
research. Yeah, I fear the sphere.
It's a scary book. Yeah.
Shut up. But what could, like, not Mania can't be. That's too small. But like,
No, they're not doing that. Maybe they'll do the Hall of Fame in the sphere, though.
that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, there's got to be something they can do in there, right? And the city of Vegas, I'm sure, really wants them to.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And just think about all of like the indie wrestling popping off everywhere. Dan, think about the casino spots. Someone is going through a roulette table.
Yeah.
Well, they've done this. WrestleMania 9. They did the Caesar's Palace.
I barely remember.
Was that Atlantic City?
That was Atlantic City.
That was Atlantic City.
That was in the Trump Hotel, right?
Someone gets thrown into the Bellagio fountain. Somebody gets thrown off the Stratosphere.
Oh my God.
Somebody gets thrown down the side of the Luxor.
Ran Vegas constantly because they have all those gambling themed pay-per-views. So
yeah.
They did
they were
MGM
doing
Grand.
Vegas
Yeah.
shows. Yeah, and MGM all the time. They had the giant chips that they would use.
Oh yeah, well, Double or Nothing. It's all casino themed. Yeah, Marino says that WrestleMania 9 was Vegas. That's right. That was Caesar's Palace. 4 and 5 for the Trump hotels
you're right.
in
My
Atlantic
mistake.
City.
You're right. 9 was Vegas, the outdoor one. Yeah, the bad one. Is that still
Bobby
the worst
Heenan backwards
Mania?
on the camel. That's the Yoko Bret Hogan one, which is terrible. Actually, 9 is fucking terrible. It's 9's actually fucking awful. It's one of the. I remember we rated them all when me and my friend watched all of them leading up to 30, our first one we attended, and I think 9 might have been the worst one.
Oh
boy. Man,
terrible.
I kind of want to watch it. It's Jim Ross's first WWE event, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
Toga.
Yeah, Toga party. I don't think I could pull off a toga. Too much body hair.
No, you could do it. You could do it, Mikey.
No, I have so much body hair on my shoulders. I literally look like George the Animal Steel to give it a
Well, there you go.
Context.
No toga then. Just George the Animal Steel.
Just George the Animal Steel.
Do a Paul White thing where you say you were like the son of George the Animal Steel, even though there's no evidence to it.
What would that name? What would the name be?
Mike,
Mitch, the
Manimal.
What's something in the
Mitch
like
the Tokoto Minotti.
Mitch,
Titanium Mitch.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that about does it. We've talked about wrestling for close to an hour.
Manimal Mitch.
Manimal Mitch.
Not Bad Squid Division. Manimal Mitch.
You could do the Manimal Claw.
Big Boy was my favorite when I was a kid.
But it's like a Disney sock too. Is there like a Disney
something more appropriate?
He should have the Carlito gimmick.
No, you shut the hell up.
This is never happening.
That's one bump I'd never take.
It's not a bump.
It is for me, damn it.
Alex Boniello, where can folks find things about you on the internet or anything you'd like to promote, sir?
Sure. Just at Alex Boniello on stuff. What am I doing? I'm in a Disney movie that comes out on July 12th. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what to say about it, but Jan's gonna love it.
I will.
And then,
I can't wait till you're in a movie with The Rock.
I would love to be.
I know.
Yeah,
I want that to happen. Yes.
I'd love to stand next to him. And
I think that sounds like a 40
of,
to 50% chance that you will at some point share the screen with The Rock.
I don't know.
Did you like the Jungle Cruise movie? I thought that was fine.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Come on.
I like Emily Blunt a lot.
Wait, is that based off a Disney ride?
Oh
the
my
Jungle
God.
Cruise.
Jungle Cruise.
I didn't know what that. No, I just put it together. You talked about wanting to be a guy on like a boat themed Disney thing. I didn't realize that they made a movie based on it.
Yeah,
Well,
don't worry.
I feel like the Joker.
I'll get you on the Jungle Cruise.
Jesus, you gotta stop doing that.
Oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah, the Jungle Cruise is the Jungle Cruise is right by where they do the Dole Whip, Dan. So I'll show you.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I have a frame of reference for that now. Okay.
Yeah. And if you're in Japan for some reason over the summer, like if you're Japanese and you're there, you like the musical Rent, I'm doing it in Japan. In English. But
that's what I haven't seen yet.
In Japan. You haven't seen Rent?
I know. What's the number?
Jeez, Mitch.
21,700.
So close,
Close.
I don't know. I just feel like that's something that you see against your will a lot.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I haven't seen that or Wicked. Somehow. Like I like.
Have you seen The Lion King?
Of course, I've seen The Lion King.
Okay.
Folks, I have never seen The Lion King on stage.
Really?
Oh, this is pretty good.
Not a wild
he lives in you. Hey, yo.
No, I know.
Hey,
I know I'm gonna like puke cry, but no, the day will come. I just gotta like. It's like one of those things. When it's always been there, you don't prioritize.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's always gonna be there.
Sure.
Alex, if I make it to New York, we'll have a date. We'll go see Lion King together. We'll get some Lorcana cards. Be fun.
Crack some packs.
Sure.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
That's cute. Mike, where can folks find you on the internet?
90s Disney has a new episode out about Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, the terrifying 3D film that they had based on the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise. That's at 90sdisney.com or 90s Disney and all the podcast places. Yeah. You know, Jeff and I, we had a lot of fun doing, Jeff Grubb and I had a lot of fun doing Game Mess Decides, our weekly general games podcast yesterday. If you haven't checked that out before, I would check out our latest episode. It was a pretty goofy one. So haven't dove into that before, check out Game Mess Decides.
Folks, and that's going to do it for wrestling this week. Still working on the feeds. Turns out tracking down episodes that were recorded in 2013 and making sure the audio is pristine is a little bit challenging. Turns out. So that's we're the top men are working on it. Do not worry.
Who put all of this luxurious duct tape in here?
Does anyone?
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh God, I hit the wrong music again. Mike,
I love how echoey I sound.
Take us out on a Lorcana thing, because this is also the Lorcana pod.
This is my Lorcana song. That was terrible. Yeah, new expansion. The Return of Ursula, Ursula's Revenge. They're revealing cards for that. I'm not revealing a card, which is some bullshit. I almost swore. That would be bad for my Disney branding that I'm working on now. But yeah, I'm very excited. Although the movie pools aren't as interesting. We don't have like Atlantis or Treasure Planet this time. It's kind of more normie movies being represented in this set. That's okay.